Good to see Gianna. She brought her grandmother to church today. And Alan and Mary. Are you guys back in school yet?
Unfortunately.
So tell me what grades you're in this year. 5th grade? 2nd? 3rd. Oh, wow. 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Wow. Well, we'll be praying for you this year in school that you'll have a successful year, right? I know it's a bummer for the summer to be over. That's the way it goes. But hopefully you'll have fun at school. Do you like your teacher? That's awesome. Such enthusiasm. That's really great. Mine got the teacher she wanted. Get hot chocolate?
Wow.
Like even now in the summer, you get hot chocolate? Mine is smiling. You like hot chocolate? Well, our story today, and I want to share a little bit about this story because this book of the Bible is not really talked about very much. And it's called Philemon, Philemon. And the cool thing about this book, it's the only book of the Bible that's just one chapter. So when you saw it up on the screen, it said Philemon 1 to 21. That's because there's no chapter. It's not as though there are 21 chapters. It's just Philemon. And here's the story. Paul. Does anybody know who Paul is? No?
The disciples?
Well, not really. He wasn't one of the 12. But he was the person who comes along after Jesus has been crucified and resurrected. And he's the one that Jesus sends to speak to the non-Jewish world. And in the Bible, they refer to these people as Gentiles. And that just means that they weren't Jewish people. So Paul's the first person to talk about the story of Jesus to people who weren't Jewish. Paul was put in prison quite a bit. Did you hear in the text it said, I, Paul, a prisoner? He wrote probably 2/3 of what we call the New Testament. So there are lots of letters in the Bible, like 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Colossians, Ephesians, Galatians. Paul writes a lot of letters in the Bible because he started churches in a lot of different cities. And while he was traveling, he would usually write a letter back to that church to help them with some problem or issue that they were having. In this case, Paul is writing this letter from jail. He's in jail because he's preaching about Jesus. Back in the ancient world, you could be put in jail because people thought that people who believed in Jesus were against the Roman Empire. And so whoever the Caesar was at the time thought that this was not a good thing. So Paul was in and out of jail a lot. He meets in jail this guy named Onesimus. People in the Bible have interesting names, don't they? Can you say Onesimus? Onesimus. Onesimus was a slave, which meant that he was basically owned by another person. And in the Roman Empire, if you were a slave, you didn't work in the fields, but you were basically a household helper. It would be like having a butler who didn't have the freedom to go home. He was a servant, but he was owned by this person, so he was referred to as a slave. We think that Onesimus maybe stole something from his master and then ran away, and they caught him, and he wound up in the same jail as Paul. So Paul is writing to Philemon, who is Onesimus' master. Are you getting all this? So Philemon has a slave named Onesimus who stole something from him and then ran away, but then was caught by the police and put in jail. And there he meets Paul. And Paul, what do you think Paul talked to Onesimus about? Yeah, what he was doing. But what's Paul's major mission in life? Paul is telling people about who? Jesus. So any opportunity that Paul has to talk about Jesus, Paul takes that opportunity. So Onesimus becomes a believer in Jesus Christ. Isn't that cool? Because of Paul. even though he's in jail. So the whole point of this letter is really twofold. Paul is saying, I've met your slave Onesimus, and I know that he did some things that were wrong. But I want you to know that he's a different person now. He believes in Jesus, and he understands how important it is to do the right thing. And I want you to give Onesimus a second chance. And here's why that's so important. In the ancient Roman world, if you committed a crime or if you were a slave and ran away and they caught you, you could be killed for that. So Paul is writing to Philemon to say, I know that he's done something wrong, and I know what the penalty normally would be for that, but I'm appealing to you as another Christian because Philemon was also a Christian. So as a Christian, if somebody has done something wrong against you, how are we supposed to respond to that? Right. We would have some kind of conversation, right? Say, would you please give that back? But if the penalty is that he might be killed, Paul is saying, Philemon, you and I are both Christians. There's a right way to handle this. What's the right way? What do you think Philemon should do? Because the letter ends before we find out what Philemon does. And Paul is asking Philemon to give Onesimus a second chance to forgive him. Do you think that's an easy thing to do?
Yes.
Wow. Have you ever forgiven somebody when they've done something to hurt you or that you didn't like? Was it easy? Jesus, it wasn't. Why is it hard to forgive?
If they hurt you, and you get it hurts your feelings, it's hard to forgive.
Right, because usually when people do things we don't like, it's not just that it's wrong, it hurts you, right? It makes you feel bad usually. So like somebody stole your backpack at school. What would you do? What if that person came, brought it back to you, and said, I know I was wrong, I'm really sorry. I'm a different person now. Would you forgive me?
I'd say yes.
You'd say yes? Gianna's like, I feel you, Gianna. It's hard. And Onesimus went to jail, right? It's not like he got off scot-free. And if somebody stole your backpack, you probably should tell the teacher, right? So there are consequences of doing things wrong. But what Paul is saying is, you're a Christian, I'm a Christian, and Onesimus has admitted that he was wrong, and he now believes in Jesus. And he's going to come back and work for you and do everything right. And I just want you to give him a second chance. Would you want a second chance if you were Onesimus? Yeah. We all want a second chance, right? When you've done something wrong, do you know it? Yeah, we know it, right? And sometimes it's just really important to say, hey, I know, I'm sorry. I think your parents and grandparents would agree. When my son was your age, when he did something, usually they know it. Do you know it? Parents are usually good at figuring stuff like that out. So you're usually better off by saying, I'm sorry. And then they can do what? Forgive you. Because guess what? Mom and Dad and Grandma love you no matter what. But it's important that we acknowledge what we've done wrong, because then people can forgive us and we get to have what? Friends and a second chance to prove that we've learned the lesson and we can do better, right? So do you think Philemon forgave Onesimus? Why do you think he did that? He was a slave, right? Right. So Paul is saying, forgive him. Do you think that Philemon forgave him? Maya says yes. Geez, not so sure. I think he did. Because Paul was saying, we're Christians and this is how we should behave. And Paul really made a really good argument about why he should forgive. So the next time you're in a situation where someone has done something to hurt your feelings, you need to think about how we treat those people. There are always consequences when we do things wrong. And to say that you forgive someone doesn't mean they become your best buddy or anything. It simply means that you remember